that's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Greetings and welcome to Context Matters. The date is October 2nd, 2025. That's October 2. Aren't we all happy to be alive? Blessings to you all. I'm going to apologize for one, my absence, and two, my lateness starting to the show. Now, here's why. This is just a very strange story. So this is how I'm starting the show. Today, we're talking about facts versus fanciful speculation. One thing I can tell you is, before I'm anything, I'm a human rights attorney. The Constitution is important to me. In particular, the Charter of Rights. We live in a country where, I'll just say this, it's whether people say it's not my place. The government, I think this looks more spiffy when I keep it locked. So let me do it that way. Yeah. What say you? Government is silent on matters of issues relating to the world, not knowing, and I have to say not knowing, that it affects us. Jamaica used to be known as a country that certainly when Michael Manley was the prime minister of this country, the fight against apartheid, one of the reasons why in 1987, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, I was not even 10 yet, but why one of the reasons why eventually Mandela was free and eventually became the president of South Africa was because Likotwe Talawa Jamaica was respected on the world stage, championing human rights, but not just for anybody, for black people. So when you hear that remember, a large percentage of the population in Jamaica go to their bed at night hungry. That is a conversation about food security, or rather food insecurity. This is a reality that we face here in Jamaica. What it looks like though is, thank God, we're not going through war like on the Gaza Strip, and I'm talking about the real Gaza. So before anybody come for me thinking I'm talking about entertainment Gaza, the Gaza nation, we're talking about the Gaza Strip. We're talking about a war and a genocide of the people of Palestine, and we're talking about human life. We're talking about having a conversation about what the sanctity of life. We're having a conversation about how the reality is that life, and I've said it in many spaces, is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. So to take it in the name of war, to take it in the name of political expedience, there's simply no justification for it, right? And so for that, I want people to appreciate, and I want people to understand that there are things going on in the world. Sudan, poverty, famine, hunger. These things are real. These are human rights violations that affects everybody. Sometimes, and let me tell you why it's important to Jamaica. There is no difference sometimes. This out of many one in Jamaica, sometimes you see somebody, if they don't open their mouth, you don't know the difference whether them is a Haitian, Jamaican, African, or anything. So us as black people, we must appreciate that. Don't get caught up in these geographical disturbances that make you think that you're different. If there's a place in the world where black people are under bondage and suffrage, it affects you too, because if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. And as a growing, developing nation, and you can quote me on this, because I know for a fact the government is incapable of taking care of the needs of the people. It's incapable. We're developing a country of beggars, notwithstanding that a select few are rich, and what is expedient and inconvenient for them is a reality for us. I'm included in that us, because notwithstanding that I'm a member of parliament, I am not of the ilk, according to some of them, that would put me in the category of them, those high and mighty and superior and rich. And so they forget about human dignity, which is what we must always consistently remind people, that it is owed to each and every one of us, and the least among us. Right? So that in and of itself is the starting point. So when we are thinking in the context of this context matters, and finding where the truth lies, the oxymoron of the word, right? It is facts versus fanciful speculation. So many things are happening in the world, and we cannot turn a blind eye to it. Here on our soil, I pause to say that I, on this program, even right through my campaign, have spoken out about my disgust and disappointment by the vast amount, heightened amount of extrajudicial killings that has taken place, to the point that I stopped count, to the point that even where I am saying each and every single life that is lost by extrajudicial killings is also robbed of the right to be adjudicated before a court, a competent court. And adjudication goes all the way to the Privy Council. And one would think that having people watch Context Matters and appreciating that, if you don't know, nobody else will ever go to the Privy Council, you don't know me. If you never meet a lawyer out of Jamaica that has gone there and is one of uno meet me. So I want people, Dwight, guess what? Just stay off of my life. You understand? Just stay off of my life. That I want you to do. Big man thing. Yeah. And having said that, extrajudicial killings is unacceptable. Not just in Jamaica, but everywhere in the world. And in America, when George Floyd was murdered extrajudiciously, they said Black Lives Matters, and then people say all life matters, and then people, well, this is a time when I'm going to say, in relation to Cherry Lane, country youth life matter, mixologist life matters, Black lives matters, the youth of this country, their lives matters. Yes? And for those who always try to find an excuse for unjustified killings, which by definition, when a killing is unjustified, it is murder. And there's a case called R against Clegg, R.V. Clegg, where the House of Lords made it clear, made it absolutely clear that the armed forces, police and soldier, have no special considerations under the law. When you commit murder, it is murder. It's not manslaughter. It's not justified. And it is also criminal, and I will say it. Because as much as I have defended members of the JCF and constantly reminding the Jamaican people that is not all members of the JCF is carrying on with this conduct. In the past, Amnesty International would have reported against conduct. And let me tell you something, I was horrified in this very country as a law student having to read about the case of Kentucky. Kentucky was an artist, Kentucky was a taxi man. And he took his gross all the way to the international community and still was murdered. Even with video showing police brutality and the powers that be, whether or not justice is served is a matter. But there were officers whose visas were taken away and families' visas were taken away because of this conduct. At one time, yes, Kentucky Kid, people remember, I never forget Dr. Janelle Matthews, her introduction to murder was the playing of what happened to Kentucky Kid. It never left my mind, and I knew right there and then that when I finished law school, I was going to be a human rights attorney. And I started to do constitutional law, and I know for sure that not only would I want to be a human rights attorney, but that I would go into the criminal court and defend those whose rights were being taken away by prejudgment. We're a society that filled with judges, society that cast the first stone because everybody somehow is without sin, because Jamaica have the most churches per square meter and mile than any other country in English-speaking Caribbean and the world at large. So yes, I'm going to talk about this. And yes, I'm going to say that it is the people who has to stop. These are issues germane to your existence. So we cannot pretend. And yes, ex parte Pinochet, the stipendiary magistrate case. See, I'm telling you about law because we are in the age where you can just Google these things. It says that a man cannot be a judge in his own cause. So yes, the police cannot be judge and jury and executioner. It's not allowed to happen. And persons who use their office to carry out crimes and to use influence to intimidate and suppress the truth, diminishing the fact-finding exercise and sometimes preventing it from coming to court for adjudication by those who are competent. They are the criminals of this society. A man is cloaked in the presumption of innocence, and that presumption does not leave because he is put to death before coming to the court. Until that is stripped from him by the highest court in the land or by the final court if the appeal ends at the Court of Appeal in Jamaica and doesn't go to the Privy Council. The case not done. And so we must think of that. And so while it is that many persons are silent about the Cherry Lane situation in Clarendon, many persons, I can tell you that, many of them are silent. But just know this, it can happen to you. I watched in this country, and I remind people all the time, Z Virgo, the young lady that went to Kensington and is now at Campion, the #1 school and best school in this country. Yeah, almost a sure shot that as she continues, she'll be a lawyer, a politician, maybe the prime minister of this country. But somebody felt like she they don't like say dreadlocks on her hair, and a judge of the Supreme Court agreed and said yes, licensed judge can't go to the school, find another school. But that was overturned by the Court of Appeal. That nonsense was overturned by the Court of Appeal. But this very September, there are still educators that decide that if you don't like the rules, find another school. And somehow, baby here, pan girl, them head side is a problem. Them soon tell you that the kitchen under your head back is a problem and you can't learn with it. Because appearance is more important than the quality of education that you get. Well, I'm from the school in Jamaica. I went to Stella Maris Preparatory and then Meadowbrook High School. And my teachers to this day, if I see them in the supermarket, believe me when I tell you this, I have great respect and reverence for all my teachers. And I yield to my teachers. It is a noble profession that this country is just too poor to pay the teachers what they deserve. But without them, you wouldn't have a meal. Let me just make that clear. So while silver and gold may vanish away, a good education makes a man much superior to a man that having little money and dumb, big and dunce. Money isn't everything. And it's a wicked combination when you have your money and you have your education. Don't care how anybody feel about that. I will not let anybody dumb down the importance of education. And the quality of it. The quality of it is what is also important. And I'm going to speak about it. So when I see conspiracies to deprive sons and daughters, the youth of this country, and I can speak, because Mark Golding, party leader, has given me the mandate to speak on the youth and human rights. Yes? So let's start right there. So when I see a conspiracy to deprive the youth of this country their education because teachers and principals are worried about shoes and worried about pants and skirt and the way you wear your hair, if it have too much nine ether, that is the Afrocentric reality, is a problem. If you put too much gel on your hair side and the baby hair come out, all if it fake. So them said gel, somebody said. That is a problem. Well, I am here to tell you that we must, people politicize everything. I see some incompetent person says, oh, from you winning East Portland don't have no water. When it is public knowledge that there is a drought right from St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, and here it is, somebody said from I am there, they don't have any water. I'm here to tell you that I lived there, and before I was there was no water. Just like how they don't pick up the garbage from before I became the member of parliament. Well, let me tell you something. I just completed a trial today. So after being sworn in on the 18th as the official member of parliament, I was thrust into a trial. And I can tell you about that trial because it ended with the man being not guilty. Because he's cloaked in the presumption of innocence, and because I continue to say that the justice system works. What part of public education that people don't understand is how the justice system works. And people will be mad at me, but I would have said this week. A young, brilliant Jamaican man was, along with his co-defendants, found guilty in the Jamaican courts. A popular person who is a party promoter, and the young man did well for himself in life. And he was advised to do trial by judge alone. When he got what I will submit is proper advice on the dangers of that. And I will say this to you. Don't call me if a lawyer tell you to do trial by judge alone. Under no circumstances would I ever tell a client to do trial by judge alone. Not. It's certainly not in this country. And just like how somebody say, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 in this dispensation, in the criminal justice system that is Jamaica, you would serve best to be judged by 7 of your Jamaican brothers and sisters than be judged by 1. We live in a reality where it will always, until I see change, and it won't in my lifetime, us against them. And you see, the Constitution is for everybody. And while it is that you are cloaked in the presumption of innocence, I'm going to repeat again. Yeah? No, don't be scared of no jury. It is your right, and the law gives you 4 opportunities to strike a juror member that your spirit don't take. The prosecutor do it and you do it. So it is not a monotonous exercise, it's an exercise of precision. So while it is that after a year of taxpayers' money being spent, you see, finding where the truth lies versus fact versus fanciful speculation. Well, I'm here to tell you, it is never over until the fat lady sing. Sometimes that fat lady is in the Court of Appeal in Jamaica, but these days, the fat lady also don't stop singing until the Privy Council say otherwise. So while it is that I see on the internet people who don't know you from nowhere rejoicing, and when them don't get them way, them find something new to say. Trust me, I'm the king of watching nonsense and idiosyncrasies play out, and all the people who are specialists of nothing. They will even find the time for go uplift themselves. Them brain on a substance and no ruby loose. Yeah? Them now get the tin mackerel with the jalapeno pepper in it, because them not shop up a certain place. But anyway, I'll just say this. Don't be quick when a man is found guilty at first instance to condemn him to whatever sentence that happens. It's just first instance. Judges are not perfect. And while it is, they too can become overwhelmed. When the 3-panel most erudite judges of the Court of Appeal review it, that's when it gets nice. Yeah? And I'll also say, if they say otherwise, it doesn't stop you from going to the Privy Council, and it ain't over. That's what justice is about. And certainly why justice is supposed to be blind. Justice is not supposed to be boys against girls. Justice is not supposed to be expediency and convenience. Yes. Nor is it supposed to be an inexpensive exercise, or one is frugal, a coupon chance. No, none of that. But what more than that is, while it is that justice may sometimes falter because of the disability of being blind, justice no deaf. Try know that. But anyway, what I will say is, chug it, Frenchman. These persons, these staple events in Jamaica, these flagship events that we participate in, was the brainchild of a genius who got caught in government slackness. That's what I will call it. I've seen the evidence. And you see, because I know the difference between facts and fanciful speculation, all if you don't know for read and write. Don't get too quick and excited and feel like that there's some end all when when people don't get it right and know the difference between fact and speculation. There is in law, the law of Jamaica and the law that coming out of England, the white man law. I'll tell you something, you can't speculate and sit down and say why you never do this and why you never do that. Therefore, you're guilty. That is just completely a misdirection in law. And there are people who can misdirect themselves, misguide themselves. And these are legitimate complaints that you have a right to make when you go to the court. And especially, you know, one of the greatest things of being a well-rounded attorney in this modern dispensation, understanding the dynamics of land titles and restrictive covenants, understanding registered land and unregistered land, understand the transfer of land and the difficulties sometimes transfers can get into. For instance, you want to buy a house, but it have a breach. NHT now get a little loan, and you bill up all of this, and you have to then go to the court and regularize and ratification. And if you expect a layman to know these things, kind of like how in a Jamaica, let me talk about Portland. Enough people there on land. Yeah, them not no money, but them own the land. And if a government wicked, them will trick them and tell them come off of the land and don't pay them. But recreational holdings make it clear that when you depend the land to the exclusions of everybody, you're not paying no lease, you're not paying no taxes, nobody can tell you come off of the land. 12 years pass if it's private land, and 60 years pass if your granny did dead from she 16 and she 97 now. It passed a long time, and you dead and you are now 18, 21, 38, 42. A combination of that means that not even the government can take you off of the land, even if it is a beachfront property. And if that beachfront property costs $3 million US, guess what? All if you're out there with a board house and nobody never tell you to come off, then for pay the $3 million US. And if them can't pay you, leave you alone and allow you to get your title and pay it to somebody rich who can. So all of these get rich quick schemes that some politicians decide that they want to become politicians so that they can go make deal for them friend them get land and them things there. That must stop with immediate effect. So who want vex, but also in the court of law, if you don't know, you're not allowed to speculate. There's no basis in law for speculation. So if the prosecution don't put up, no judge can make up and speculate. I know that for a fact because I spoke before the Privy Council and I said to Lord Reid, we are not in a position to speculate what jurors did. We are not the proverbial fly on the wall. And the court agreed. So I don't need nobody else to tell me that you can't speculate. The law is written from all the way. So if any time a prosecutor don't put up, they must shut up. We don't care if your back is broad and you have rhinoceros skin, or if you have multiple pimples in your face, or if your beauty and your face is white as snow. We don't care. In fact, today in court, I went against two of the most beautiful women in Jamaica. Me with my ugly self, me have to beg the judge to tell them, you can't rely on beauty. So you're ugly lawyer like me, them still listen to me because you can't make the pretty girl them trick you. We do it in our politics to run against some pretty girl, Botox baby and me win. But I want to get the point. Anyway, life is more technical and a lot more, it's not fanciful. So you're not allowed to speculate. Nor are you to disenfranchise a man when his back is against the wall and he says, I don't want to be tried by you. Not because you're not pretty, not because we don't like you, but nobody in the court of law should ever want to be tried by judge alone. Don't care how smart them is. In a developing country where issues are, we are fatigued by corruption. We are fatigued by scamming. We are fatigued by murder. We are fatigued in certain rural areas and certainly in St. Catherine by rape and sex with a person under the age of 16. It runs rampant. See somebody there? It runs rampant across. And we're fatigued. Just hear me now? By criminality in this country. So I can tell you, a judge who experienced this fatigue daily, kudos to you if you want to take your chance by trial by judge alone. As long as I'm an attorney, I will never. And I tried it once. And I can tell you, the outcome was not in my client's favor. Notwithstanding, I made it clear as I made my way across the street to the court of appeal, because my client was not to be found guilty, like in this case. So guess what? Is it you me know when people break promises? For instance, a trial that is supposed to last 3 months, or so them they tell me last a year. I just don't participate. So you have me on record, you have me on video saying that, because I already know the grounds right themselves. But anyway, let me tell you about the case today now. We'll move on from that. But anybody that is interested in chug it a go on. Sponsors, I will write you personally to let you know that watch it, because I'm never wrong. The outcome of the proceedings will end in the young man's favor. Yeah? That I can tell you. Yeah. I don't poke this, I don't jerk poke this. Yeah, work where I work, you think a chicken where I jerk? Anyway, moving on, and let me tell you about this case now. Big up yourself, Alessandra. You did very well. I am proud of you for holding the fort down and allowing me not to be distracted and removed from us and prevented from running a fair election. So the people of Portland was not disenfranchised. Very well. Big up yourself. Anyway, the case now. Now after me get sweary, I meet this man in court. Call him name to him. Name Gerald White. That's how I shake my hand and said, God say you for represent me. Now if somebody tell me, say God say me must represent them, I mean if I go against what God say, talk the truth. I never not go on till you tell me if I lie me at you. That's what the man said. Selector Princess, that's what he said. Mr. White stop there and say, God say you must represent me. I say, okay. And I gave the man my number. And then he contacts Miss Labiche. And he contacts my office. And he found and says, I'm talking. He says this. I said, okay. And I didn't have the file or anything. And I left Portland in the morning and I drive to court. And I stand up and I said, my lord, I represent Mr. Gerald White, and I would like to be put on the record, and I'm asking for a date in January because, my recent appointment, I'm trying to get my footing and see how best I can facilitate Mr. White, as he says that God said that I should represent him. The judge said, well, Mr. Buchanan, Mr. White, now I tell you, sir, today I'm trying to start. It's starting today. So here's what. You need a little time to read the file. I said, my lord, I don't have the disclosure, but I'm in your hands. And he says, I'm glad because we are starting today. We are empaneling the jury today. And I says, well, if God says that I must represent this man, who am I to say no? And I went outside and I told the driver, I said, looks like I'm going to be here for a while. Get me a Snicker. Anyway, jury empaneled, me trying to let the people of Portland know that, listen, I'm in a trial. And every day them say, we're not on the water. As you turn MP, you can't get the water. We don't see you again. And then the people them say, yeah, me telling them, say, I seen turn MP, not come down there. But I'm a lawyer. I have a profession. You understand? It's not like I was painting my nails and, doing nothing with my life before, but I'm still doing the work. The week before that, I was in Portland every day in court. So those who had a court case saw me in court and I'm doing the people's work. So anyway, pick the jury and the people then go on and somebody sit down and says, I'm a clerk and so and so. I'm going to look for my client and my client look for me. I'm going to say, my spirit not take them. Some spirit not take. So what's spirit not take? Strike! You just say, you mean you don't want them on the jury? So it goes. Anyway, we did that 4 times. And then we spirit take everybody else. And the prosecutor did theirs 4 times. And then we now no more strike and we spirit have to take who then. Then I went home and then I got a copy of the file. And then I read the file. And then I saw Lexi. And I said, Lexi, you ever hear about foot pan chair, arms length apart, knees, right knee bend, left foot pan chair, and man 2 knee bend, and then them have sex that way? Lexi said, but I don't know no style like that. Me either. Me never see that style again. The closest thing I've seen to anything like that is Buju Banton on the stage when him go on the monitor box and him say, but anyway, so only Buju Banton knees can do that style. Put it that way. Anyway, outside of that, after conferring with learned counsel, Miss Alessandra Labiche, big up yourself, she says, it's a sexual impossibility. And we know it's a sexual impossibility because we tried, okay? Didn't work. Anyway, context matters. Simulation. Anyway, so I know, so you see the knee them at 47 don't really work. And when the knee them not work and the pain going to the knee, there's some blood flow issues, so you're not going to have an erection for 3 minutes. Anyway, context matters. Moving on. Probably too much information, but I'm trying to paint the picture for you. Somebody said, I said, stop no more. I'm telling you what happened in the case. So anyway, trial, I prepare for trial. I also consult 2 other counsels. Want to know them, just go on YouTube so I don't have to call them name. And head to court, trial start the morning, and you have to be mentally prepared because here is a 49-year-old man being accused of having sex with a 10-year-old. Yes? And this is most unfortunate predicament to be in. But a reading of the case and delving into the issues, I'm saying the man who says God said I should help him is a man of God, was a Rastafarian who, because experiencing trauma, and when you know anything about the Nazarene vows, you're to cut your hair if you witness murder, shame, trauma, all of those things. And he cuts his hair and, he delves into his spiritual reality. Anyway, trial start and there's the nice examination in chief of the young lady who is now 14. And I won't say her name to protect her identity. And then comes cross-examination. You must appreciate how difficult it is to have a conversation at my age with a child about sexual intercourse. Take this opportunity to tell you that the laws of Jamaica define sexual intercourse as the penetration by the penis of a male of the vagina. So it is the man who is the dominant and is he who must initiate sex. That is why women can't rape men in this country. Section 10 is the part of the Sexual Offences Act that speaks to having sex with a person under the age of 16. To prove the elements of the offense, therefore, is the child must be under 16. Presenting a birth certificate is one. The penis of the male must enter the child's vagina, who is on the person under the age of 16. And the prosecutor must prove that sex took place. And so those are the elements. Now the young lady says she learned about sex in school, and the teacher used some cardboard that she prop up on a chair in school, and this would be the blackboard. So when asked to describe the sex act, she says, well, the man get a white chair, you know, one of those plastic white chairs with the two angle, the angle them, yeah. He puts it on the wall, like so. And after he puts it on the wall, and tell her to put up her foot. So she put up her left foot, and then him go in between and bend him knee them and do this for 3 minutes. Yeah? So him do that for 3 minutes. And him hand on the back like that. While he was doing that, hand pan penis and hand pan back, him could move the curtains and do all kind of stuff. Anyway, while arms length apart. So you do the visual, and grown folks feel free to try it at home, and you can send me a message to tell me if it worked for you. I submitted to the jury about sexual impossibility. And because I knew that it was a sexual impossibility, I put it to the young lady and said, listen, I'm of the view that you don't have a clue what sex is. Here's why. A medical report which was not submitted into evidence by the Crown says that although the hymen is not present, there's no evidence of sexual trauma. There's no gaping of the vagina. Well, parental discretion advised. The young lady had a surgery that she previously did, and the gynecologist saw her. He used his instrument to, insert and look up in there and put his fingers in her vagina to ensure post-surgery to check. Anyway, that accounts for why there is no hymen. Prosecution decides they're not going to put the medical report in. Of course, I raised that as an alarm to say that this is a scientific document that is supposed to prove your case, and it is absent. All you have is the word of the young lady. Now, when I cross-examined the lady, there was 2 counts. She said that every time she does count 1, she says the same thing happens. Then she said count 2, the same thing happens again. In the same thing. The only type of sex she knows exists is the type that our teacher showed her in grade 1. 2 cardboard, side by side, and simulation. Bending knees and bending knees. That's how she thinks sex go. So I prodded some more, and I said, but tell me something. In your statement, you said that he tried to put it in, but it never go in. What are you saying? Oh, you tell the prosecutor and said go in for 15 seconds. Here, well, this is weird. Because I never really mean it go inside. I say it was there, but it never got inside, and this and this. And then when the prosecution asked her why she lied, she said, well, I don't know. I don't know why I did say that what I said he didn't do. I took that to mean that she admitted that there was no sex. So I made a big deal about that. And she said she told her grandmother 2 years later, but she told the prosecution that she told the grandmother 2 weeks. Then she said some all kind of mix up, like sand through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Enough things did I go on. Anyway, Gigi said, "I want this man." Anyway, I tell her, I said, "You don't even know what sex is." I said, "You know what penetration is?" No. "Do you know what perpendicular is?" No. "Do you know what parallel is?" No. But I learn it, but I don't know it. And them give one of them there. Anyway, when it all said and done, they bring the grandmother that she lived with. And the grandmother come and she said, "I swear to tell the whole truth, so help me God." I say, "All right, fine." As if somehow when you say it, when you bawl out the whole truth, it makes it different. But I suppose, let me tell you something, and what I respect about the elder. Them say what they on their mind and them ball out however them want ball out. As if this was Partner Draw TV. What a banger, right? Um, but I know that she was saying she's doing her best to tell the truth. So I was not offended by that. Didn't take it as anything. In fact, when I was swearing in Parliament, I said I will defend the Constitution. So help me God. You know, so we emphasize the things that are important to us. So I left it at that. I was very respectful to her, and I could not. I was slighted because let me tell you something. You have to respect your elders. Just like how when you're dealing with children, you have to make sure that you don't break them because you're in a fact-finding exercise and trying to find where the truth lies. Yeah, so you have to maintain that compassion, and so you have to dance through the raindrops. So I'm talking to the lady. So I'm saying I'm not offending grandma, you know, because grandma come and she dress really spiffy. I tell you that. So we know say it's a no nonsense granny this. So me I talk to granny and I say, "Granny, do you know Mr. White?" She said, "Me know him, man, no Mr. White, a Gerald that. And he was a Rasta man with a Tom." So I hear me now with my bright self. "You mean Rasta like this?" She said, "No, I'm here on a plateau. You're rental." I get the big diss of my life, you know, so I have to sit down. It seems apparently everywhere I go, nobody thinks I'm a Rasta man, even though I am. But it is what it is. Jayut man, cute man. I'm just a son. So leave it like that. Anyway, when it all said and done, the grandma, I must tell you, she couldn't advance the child's case any further. She is the mother of about 3 police officers, and then there's some other police officers in the family. It's family of police officers. So from where she sits as a matriarch, she has done well for this country in raising her children. I want you to. I'm saying this so people don't misinterpret, and how you have to have respect and appreciate the dynamics and the moving parts when you're doing a trial. And so, yeah, she made me know some my hair plait up. So him was a different type of Rasta man, and he had a tam. So I don't know. Anyway, when that was said and done, there was appeared to be some family feud to get out the girlfriend and whatever. And certainly that was the case. You know, the friend testifies and all of that, man testify. Cut long story short, we did closing arguments, and the things that matter to me, I raise it. Windows, it's not Alcor windows and doors, but windows and doors, placements, things you remember, the whole issue of, oh, did I tell you that she admitted that he didn't have sex with her one at a time, that it didn't go in the vagina. She also said that she felt nothing when the sexual intercourse took place. So when the penis was in the vagina, she didn't feel anything. And she went home and nothing, no bleeding, no nothing took place, but she felt a little pain in her tummy at the end. Again, I said she didn't appreciate sex, so we did the closing. And my friend, the prosecution, gets up, my learned friends gets up and say, so and so and so and so. And then I get up and I respond and I said, here's the facts. The burden is on the prosecution. There's a prosecutor who must show that sex happened. And I submit to you, no. I see these are the good questions. And that's why I say, if you are before the court, no make nobody tell you say jury a layman and don't know what go on. Because let me tell you something. People have common sense in this country and they also know what go on. The man, but now I'll tell you your name, selector princess, but the man was blessed by God in the true sense of the word. So it was not a walk in the park for any woman on this platform, let alone a 10-year-old. Just appreciate that. And that was clear to all who was in the courtroom. Anyway, the end result, the judge is giving his summation, and I must tell you, the judge who is the judge of the law, I gave some law, and it's very interesting because I indicated the position on law as someone who for years would have thought as someone who would have taught criminal law for 7 unbroken years, I must tell you, the law is not foreign to me. I know what sections of the law and kind of know the law. There's a thing about sexual offenses. Jamaica has removed the requirement for corroboration. Recent complaints is still a part of our law, and just it doesn't prevent an attorney from saying to a jury, there is no corroboration. You don't tell nobody recently, notwithstanding that grandma come and talk. Grandma can't speak to nothing. Grandma never did it. Nobody never did it. Doesn't matter how much police officers are in your family and what they would have done and how they would advise you. At the end of the day, the burden is on the complainant through the prosecution to prove that what is happening is true. Then the law of what consistency is, inconsistencies and discrepancies forms a part of how you test credibility. The case was about credibility. Identification came up. And while identification was not in issue, if one even had passed the threshold of sexual intercourse, the issue is whether or not it was my client is another threshold that they would have to cross. And I put it all out to the jury. Had some discomfort because there's a counsel who had said that I implied that corroboration was a requirement. This is all fresh in my mind, so I'm just sharing. And after speaking to the jury, and the most important thing is that his witnesses spoke to his character. Good character is a jury direction that inures to the benefit. It goes to the benefit of the defendant. And he was given the benefit of that direction, which the judge gave to the jury. And I tell you, hearing the case in its entirety when the judge is giving his summation, it is a very unfortunate situation. And then when you have to juxtapose the realities of what takes place in some parts of Jamaica and sexual offenses, you have to stop for a second and say, we really have a problem. We are an over-sex society with majority of the people not have money. And because of that, the alternatives to access to sex causes people to become pedophiles and sexual deviants. And these are things that we have to sit and talk about in terms of sexual education, what type of information is putting out there, and not be afraid to shy away from confronting the elephants in the room. Anyway, the judge completed his summation at 3:13, and the jury left to go and deliberate. And while it is my client is minister in terms of his faith and he does his ministry, he's not a pastor, but there are people who minister and do God's work. I must say to you that I witnessed a man who looked me in the face and says, I am nervous and I am afraid because I don't know, based on the judge's summation, what the jury will do. And I reminded him that he said to me that God asked him to ask me and basically tell me that I had to do the case. And Mr. Sir, I want my money. All right. Anyway, and on top of that, I stopped to him and tell him about his faith. Anchor your expectations. Psalms 121, if you're feeling weary, lift up your eyes to the hills. Right? So say, Simone, that's absolutely not true. He was not in a position. It never happened. And so you weren't listening. So you're trying, Simone is saying he was in a sexual position with a minor. Not true. And that's what people need to understand. And that's why we find where the truth lies and why we go on a fact-finding exercise, distinguishing facts from fanciful speculation. Of all the things that you hear me say, how do you come with that conclusion? Please rewatch Context Matters and listen to that which I was saying. Anyway, 20 minutes later, the jury says we are ready. Yes, the jury says that. And the jury comes in, stands up, the forewoman stands up, and they say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the gentleman is charged with Section 10 of the Sexual Offences Act, having a sex with a person under the age of 16. The particulars are that on so and so a date in February 2021, this is when COVID just done, so and so and so and so did so and so and so and so. What say you? And they say, not guilty. And of course, the man ball because him free. Of course, I says, well, work well done. And the court goes back to doing its business and what it will do tomorrow. And a man is saved from people telling lie on him. A man gets to go back and lives his life and continue his ministry and continue his work and his profession, not restricted. But most importantly, the Constitution works. The presumption of innocence that he was cloaked in stood up. No matter how anybody feels, the conversation that I'm having with you is why I know this justice system works. Stacey, that's a good question. When you say I wonder why she lie, well, I can't call the names, but the girlfriend, grandma and his girlfriend was was having a feud because she said she thief her sheet when they dip on the line. So the lady said, don't come back at the yard because you carry news to your granny. I'm in a chat to your granny. And she was banned from the house where her cousin lived, so she couldn't go play at the yard. And 2 years later, and we can get the other mix up, because the woman live at the yard and they at the yard. The brother says she can't stay at the yard. Our brother-in-law says she can't stay at the yard. And all kind of mix up. And she was still married to the brother of the owner of the yard. And the brother never liked it and this and like sand through the hourglass, like I said earlier. So are the days of our lives. And it was a whole bunch of things that when picnic, that's why they say you not mix up in a grown folks business. Because when you get sheet teeth, here all them something there and no live no way. And this and all the things that when it's ventilated in the court, it sounds like bangarang, but somebody's life, yeah, a daytime drama. I can't say young and the restless because granny never young. But so nor was the client. He was 53 and being accused of that. An upstanding citizen, never been in trouble in his life. And so, we mustn't be too quick to judge people. And we have to read beyond. Do not speculate. Do not prejudge. Old and the beautiful. Of course, I'm the old, and the prosecutors today were the beautiful. But anyway, I think I'm just sharing that because we oftentimes forget that it's real people's lives, and when we go on the internet, we stay from afar without knowing the facts, and we make judgment calls, and we criticize, and we say things that sometimes can't be taken back. But I suppose a lot of people do it because they're behind pseudo accounts, and so their ability to be disrespectful, knowing that they cannot be held accountable, or even if they're held accountable, them don't even have a good bed. Them bed catch up by cinder block, so them not live no life. So it's not like you can go sue them and take away a good Sealy Pastapedic mattress from them. So one of the things we have to do is to try to improve the lives of everybody, and try to understand that we can't just be unfair to people, and we can't just go around saying whatever we want about people and indicting them, because sometimes it end up before a court. And I think the worst part of it is when people are accusing you and you're not before the court. You don't have an avenue to vindicate yourself. You don't have an avenue to get vindicatory damages when people try to defame you. And there will be people who say, yeah, actually, I'm a good lawyer. Yeah, I am a good lawyer. That is true. But it's not because I'm a good lawyer. And I mean, one of the things that I appreciated about the judge is that the judge made clear to them, don't bother go think say is the character of the lawyers that is determining the outcome of the case. It's not because of me. It's the facts. I'm just a conduit to present the facts as they are and understanding the law. But fairness always seems to find its way and get out in the court when people get the opportunity. And so as a creature of instructions, if I'm given the instructions and I'm in a position to carry it out, I will do so. But I can tell you, I'm sharing that with you because, again, I'm inviting the public and the diaspora and everybody to think about what it is I'm saying, because I'm now going back to the issue of extrajudicial killings. It falls right in and why context matters. These things overlap because the people who are being murdered are young people, the youth of this country. The murders of the youth of this country is a violation of the right to life. It is a breach of the right to family life, because many mothers, many baby mothers and children are also disenfranchised and the family home broken and destroyed forever. I don't think that people understand the dynamics of the trauma that comes to a family and I'm not calling the young man's name because I haven't met the family. But we've all seen the videos, and we've seen this young man come home from work, and we've seen the tampering of the cameras and the moving of the cameras. Name was not on the warrant, and he lost his life. But this happened last year in Stony Hill. The gentleman's girlfriend is traumatized because she was in the house when they put the pillow over him head and executed. And the many other times and the many other videos. This wasn't the first video that we've seen two men executed, put on their knees and murdered. And, I will just say to the people, because we live in a high crime society, it's very hurtful when the people who is to protect you is the ones that's killing you. But I will say that when we are in a high crime society, it is we who are to find ways to protect ourselves, which is why in the vehicles these days, the women, men, people alike, they put the front cameras on and the back cameras on and the recording cameras, and they record their entire time driving. So if somebody run out in the road, police can come say them deliberately use the vehicle for commit vehicular murder. Not even manslaughter, vehicular murder, and intentionally run down nobody. Or if you just in the night drive out and all of a sudden you hear say police stop you for obstructing traffic and at 12 a.m. and the traffic never there on the road, but you get a ticket for that. It's about using the technology to check and question the integrity of those who otherwise can destroy your lives, given much power. But it also means that maybe we should look on Amazon and we should start wearing body cams. And greater privacy issues may come into play, because then people going to say, oh, you're breaching my privacy because you have on body cam and you never tell me, and you start to come to my house and you record me in violation, and that's malicious communication or whatever. But you must decide how you're going to protect yourself. Which is why my house and my space is full of cameras on the perimeter, not necessarily inside. But why we have to make sure that, while it is that you'll have the cameras and then you have the recording in the cloud, because there's a style where they come and they look for the machine and then yank it out and mash it up. But when it's in the cloud, a long time iPad and iTunes and all of them things there, the cloud, and then can't do nothing. And you back up the information. Because these days, it is important to protect yourself, because the heart of man is wicked. They're not a heart. And I'm just putting that out there because I guess I saw a press, if it's a press release, but the JCF says they're not going to make no NGO or no institution or nobody come tell them and dictate to them the use of body cameras. I'm in a case before the parish court of the use of body cameras for a traffic stop. If traffic police can wear body cameras, look at the press. There are 20 police officers that went on that operation, and we don't know if them still at work or what them doing. We don't know. We don't know if they're a part of a death squad. The family, I don't know if the family have an attorney, and I don't know if Indicom has requested the press to see what that operation was about, its origin and why, especially where the young man was not on the warrant. And this killing was senseless and unjustified. It's not a case of mistaken identity, it is intentional murder. And yeah, I agree. Maybe the government should lift duties on these cameras. But maybe if you go to Amazon and you look at the price of the cameras, people can individually get the cameras and start to walk up and down. So when police stop you, you say, yeah, my camera on, do your thing. Rather than put out your phone and then you get your face kick off and box down and thump down. And then them say, whoop your phone. And whatever else happen. Somebody say, you're a lawyer, you should be able to attend. Lee says something. Attend what? I don't know what you're talking about. But I will submit to the public while I'm here that a simple solution to prevent these things from happening is the body cam. In the United States, there are many questionable shootings that have led to the police officers being removed from police force, tried and convicted because body cams were on. And even where the perpetrator turned off his body cam, his team, their body cams were on and they captured different things. And those who were not complicit, a review of the camera would have caused persons to either be vindicated or prosecuted. And why? Because we're on a fact-finding exercise, finding where the truth lies. And Alex Jones said 99% of the I guess police forces across the world, they wear body cams. So why is Jamaica so special? Well, Jamaica is a developing country. That's what they will tell you. And they don't have enough storage capacity. But, make you ever say something about the Prime Minister, then find you quick from under your bed. You know, if a Jamaica hire some other camp, but then find your address and find where you are. Somebody asked me if I'm going to have more of these talks. Every Thursday, I do my best. As I said last week, the trial had started, so I was not able to get home as fast. And I still started, I think, half an hour late today. But as time permits, Context Matters is a space to have these conversations and also to look where the law meets criminology, where the law is either consistent or inconsistent with the Constitution. Because I also have a grouse. At what point, and I am sure that this issue will be ventilated very soon, but we have to revisit firearms legislation. We cannot be sending our sons and daughters to sit in prison for 15 years for imitation firearms, toy guns, and guns that cannot do harm to anybody. We cannot say to judges, your hands are tied to destroy the life of young people because legislators were simply lazy. In England, toy guns have a different sentencing guidelines. Same thing for Australia. First world countries understood the assignment, but Jamaica think that they're so unique. But there is a push to ensure that the sons and daughters of this country, especially the poor ones, because it's different rules for other people. Yes? And CTC is asking if I am fully rehabilitated. I'm a member of parliament. Yeah? Don't you ever forget that. I'll be here to remind you. Out of order. Anyway, wanting people to understand that you cannot, no nation should be in the business, right, of turning ordinary citizens into criminals. And we also have to appreciate that. And I can tell you, Lord Reed said that in Sweet and Parsley, not the Lord Reed that's the president of the Privy Council now, but another Lord Reed, right? And once people understand and appreciate that, we cannot be in the business of turning ordinary citizens into criminals. And the same thing, you know, I was looking at a clip, and I don't have it to play. Sorry, maybe I play it another time, but it is a governor, a black man. This guy was found guilty of marijuana. He then committed armed robbery, but he benefited from DC legislation that allowed youth offenders to have their records expunged as long as they were not 25 years of age. Jamaica had used to have a youth offenders in the sentencing guideline. If you were under 23, the judges to give you the benefit of the doubt because you were still a youth. Juveniles' records weren't put on their records weren't put on their criminal record before they were 17, and that had to go to the Privy Council. But the benefit of that is when I was 17 when I committed my crime, and my record expunged because of that same thing. And the law changed thereafter, and now I'm a member of parliament. Certainly from where I sit, I'll be having conversations with Dr. Horace Chang, who I believe also is of a mind. And not only Dr. Chang, but also Delroy Chuck, the Honorable Delroy Chuck, Senior Counsel. Rehabilitation is a real thing. In Barbados, even for firearms, they allow for expungements, which is why they don't have this thing where their citizens can't go out into the world because convictions prevent them from having the opportunity to be the best versions of themselves. If you pay your debt to society, you're not to be punished for the rest of your life. I saw where, notwithstanding, as a youth offender, notwithstanding getting my life back on track, there are some people that feels that I'm out of order to want to be an attorney. I'm out of order to want to be a member of parliament. That's another conversation to have, because there are persons who live unfulfilled lives, and it makes them bitter to know that they have not gotten up and done anything with their lives. And how dare you want to compete and want to participate in life when they have given up. I want to say that rehabilitation is a conversation that is now on the table, and that is why it is important to shatter glass ceilings. The governor that I make mention of, who has tried his best to be a part of Trump's cabinet and did not make it, he was pushing legislation in Congress to remove the rehabilitation mechanisms and the opportunity for other black people himself. And he has Jamaican parents and Panama parents. An immigrant goes to America and tries to remove legislation that protects the Negroes and other minorities in America, and he's a minority. And I promise you, if ever I were to take a position like that, people would be saying, dirty Rasta boy, when I'm being eyes at after you get to turn MP, you stop other people picnic, we commit crime, you stink. That's it. So I will just simply say what you will with the gentleman who is a governor or whatever he says he is, and is riding the moral high horse. Yes. And trying to think that that will somehow remove his taint. I never asked anybody to remove my taint. I'm proud of my past and what I've been able to achieve. And my mission is to prevent other people's children from experience what I have to experience, that you can live your life overwhelmingly perfect beyond your mistake, and people still will send you to your past. When King David murdered Goliath, they didn't walk around calling him a murderer. Jesus was convicted and sentenced to death. Marcus Garvey was convicted. And these are men who became great, right? Somebody said, what of videoing the police in public and post it? You have a right to video them in public, you know. The only time the law say you can't video nothing is when you're in the court. And that law is to protect the identity of the accused and also victims in the court, especially in cameras. Yes, Kathleen Smith, water gun is imitation firearm, and if you use it at night, even the PlayStation and the Nintendo and the Xbox guns they charge you for it. Police have wide powers to charge people, and so these are things that we have to think about. So I've raised that thing because what do we want from our society? Do we want our children to be the best versions of themselves? Do we want our youth to be excited about becoming educated and having multiple professions and attach themselves to monetizing the digital space, be a part of the digital economy? So when we have these conversations, we can't have a future for Jamaica if we're killing all of the youth and labeling them criminals. And having tattoos don't make you a criminal. Not combing your hair don't make you a criminal. Might if you don't brush your teeth, you're wicked. You try to kill people with your bad breath. But outside of that, halitosis really don't make you a criminal. Being ugly don't make you a criminal. Being fat don't make you a criminal. Being loud and boisterous don't make you a criminal. Not one, because if you don't want to have a job, it don't make you a criminal. But we must not selectively say children are children when we want them to be children, and then label them as adults when we want to label them as adults. And we can't be selective with the people we call children because they come from Upper St. Andrew versus those who come from downtown. Or even if you come from downtown, you're a good child because you're on the Manning Cup team. But if you're not on the Manning Cup team, you're a big man and you forget shooting at your head and go to prison. No, or dead. Or both. And so, because of that, what we are to do is to go back to community policing. We protect our children and we don't think that we don't think for a second that they're okay. Not from the bad men, not from the policemen. Yeah? Not from the predators, not from the people who just want to harm people because they're unhappy with themselves. And this also means that if we constantly neglect people when they're crying out for help, when they act up, they're going to put themselves in danger. And those who cannot take the pressures of life because they're not enjoying the vicissitudes of life might find themselves killing themselves. And suicide is real. Not even judges that sit on the bench we are to discard as the humanness will overcome them. We learned that this week. And the judiciary lost a beautiful soul and suspected suicide to the name. But also we saw a beautiful woman put on a video and said, I just feel like the voice is in my head. And nobody paid her any mind. And when she died, she became a news item. But Rosalie also reached out and she processed how she felt in her head. She lost her children. I don't see nobody going to counsel the young lady. Because what? She fat? Because she chat too much? Like people like tell me, say, me chat too much? Where is the compassion? That is it. And so there's this new thing now that when things happen in Jamaica, they say, Isat, I'm disappointed in you because you have said nothing. I thought you were human rights and now you're up there because you turned politician, you don't care. Why do you assume that I don't care? And why do you assume that I have said nothing? Why do you assume that if I'm not in Portland today, that's because I don't want to be there and I'm not in court trying to ensure that somebody's child, somebody's family member is not sent to prison because they're wrongfully accused? And this day and age when people get up every day to try to destroy people's lives, whether it be through rumors and derogatory statements on the internet, or people make up story and go to police because it is expedient to do so, and prevent people from elevating because you have the sword of what they call it, Damocles over them head. So I'll just say that for the most part, and I say this genuinely, the world is not just Jamaica. The greatness of the people of Jamaica is displayed in the world. And because of that, the world. But I care. I've been caring before I was in a position to do a press conference. Context matters, it's always here, and I voice my opinion every day. And I've been championing rights before they said go on champion rights. Anything that you see happen is formalities. And I stay right on this platform and I tell people and I speak out about it. And my message is not a warning to young police officers. Right? My message to them is don't get caught doing the dirty work for other people, because they will discard you and label you a bad fit for an institution that will survive your existence. And also, as you wear the uniform, you have a duty. You're given great and wide powers, and you're a police officer in and out of uniform. Your personal life is as important, your private life is as important as the uniform you wear. Think about the other people, just as an attorney at law has to think about his profession when he makes certain statements. Well, certainly that applies to me. Oh yeah, everything I do is in the public space, so I don't have to elaborate on that. But it applies to everybody. It's not just that the world is listening in Maria. The world is watching. To the level of greatness that comes from this country, I'm taken aback that we're not protecting each and every one of us. Yes, I am hoping for that. And somebody said they would love to see me address the issue of corruption, land, beachfront, and all of Portland. These are things that I address every single week. A day don't go by that I'm not addressing it. And there's a lot of information on the internet, on my Instagram, on my TikTok, on YouTube, of me addressing these things. But again, my people, know your rights, protect yourself. If they don't want a video, you video. That if you are in a place and you feel like you can't trust what's happening, Google the device, purchase the device, and use the device. That's where we're living now, because I'm sure these days, I don't think I go to one institution or one space that cameras are not rolling. Certainly when I'm in the UK, every street, every building, everywhere I go, I think they can watch me walk up and down. From Leicester Square to Chancery Lane, everywhere. But guess what? I just want to say that thank you all for listening to me. This has been a great space to vent. I'm happy that the young man, he's not even, he's older than me and I'm calling him the young man. I guess my gray hairs is fooling me. I just want to say, protect yourself, protect your rights, be compassionate, not quick to judge, and we're gonna get it right. I believe in that. I believe that we're gonna get food security under control. We're gonna deal with protein security. We're gonna talk about that. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about protecting our youth. We're going to talk about educating the least among us about our human rights, and also educating those who are put in charge of that to know it and to apply it. But blessings to everybody. Thank you all for listening. It's always a pleasure to share. And remember, finding where the truth lies is a fight between fact and fanciful speculation. Reject fanciful speculation. Blessings.
It took some time to understand, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see, it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call me, be a friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving, moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything